Adanma, congratulations, it is a baby boy. You have finally given birth. The sound of a baby's cry echoed in the quiet morning in a small part of the town of Amaigbo. Adanma, congratulations, it is a baby boy. You have finally given birth to a baby boy. In a small town called Amaigbo many years ago, there lived a woman called Mama Ejike, whose real name was Adanma. She was known all over the village as a strong and hardworking woman. She was married to a kind man named Okafor, and they lived happily. They had 4 children together, but they were all girls. Adanma loved her daughters dearly, but in those days, having a male child was seen as the stool a woman has to sit on for her to say she is in her husband's house. Each time Adanma gave birth to a girl, the villagers would talk behind her back. Oh, another girl, when will she have a boy? Pressure came from left, right, and center for Adanma, especially from her in-laws, who constantly reminded her of the importance of having a male child to carry on the family's name. Adanma prayed fervently and did everything she could to have a son. She went to traditional healers, made sacrifices, and followed every piece of advice given to her. After many years and 4 daughters, Adanma's prayers were finally answered. She gave birth to a healthy baby boy. The joy in her heart knew no bounds, and she named him Ejike, meaning what a great strength. Ejike was the pride and joy of Adanma and Okafor. Sadly, Okafor passed away, leaving Adanma to raise all her children alone. Adanma poured all her love and energy into her children, determined to give them the best life possible. She worked hard on her farm, did menial jobs, and made sure that they lacked nothing. But she was really particular about Ejike being her only son. Ejike grew up to be a fine young boy. He adored his mother and always listened to her advice. Adanma's love for Ejike grew with each passing day. She loved Ejike so much that she began to over-pamper him and scrutinize everything he did. She did not allow Ejike to do any house chores or hard work. Everything was left for his elder sisters to do. Ejike would eat and leave the plates for his sisters to wash. Adanne, the first daughter, and her younger sisters would always complain, but their mother always told them to endure, as they will soon marry and go to their husband's house. Don't stress this only boy I have, oh. He is my pride. You know what I went through to have him, was what Mama Ejike always said to Adanne and her sisters whenever they complained. Adanne and her sisters grew into beautiful ladies, and year by year they brought home suitors and got married, leaving Ejike at home with their mother. Years passed, and Ejike too grew into an handsome man and soon became of marriageable age. Many young ladies in the village admired him for his looks and nice body. But Mama Ejike always found one fault or another in every girl that came close to her son. She would say, Ejike, this one looks too lazy, or this one doesn't look like she would know how to cook well. Ejike, because of the love he has for his mother, respected her so much that he never questioned her judgment. After all, she had always been there for him since he was a baby. One day, Ejike met a beautiful young woman named Nneka. Nneka was kind, respectful, and very industrious. She was the kind of woman every mother would want for her son. Ejike fell in love with Nneka, and soon he took her to meet his mother. Nneka greeted Mama Ejike warmly, kneeling down and showing all the respect she could. But Mama Ejike, as usual, was not satisfied. She thought no woman was good enough for her son. Mama, this is Nneka, the woman I want to marry, Ejike said with a hopeful smile. Mama Ejike eyed Nneka from head to toe and said, Ejike, are you sure about this girl? She looks like she cannot take care of you the way I do. Mama, Nneka is a good woman. She would definitely make a good wife, Ejike insisted. Reluctantly, Mama Ejike agreed, but in her heart she was not happy. A few months later, Ejike and Nneka got married, and Nneka moved into Ejike's compound. From then onward, Mama Ejike made life and things very difficult for her. Every morning, she would wake Nneka up very early and give her a long list of chores to do. Nneka would fetch water, sweep the compound, and cook all the meals, while Mama Ejike sat and watched, always finding something to complain about. Nneka, why is this soup tasteless? She would say, even when the soup was so delicious. Or, Nneka, you did not sweep this place well, even when the floor was spotless. Ejike, as the man of the house, would come back home from work in the evening and find his wife looking tired and unhappy. Instead of him to hug and pet her, after Nneka had narrated to him all that happened between her and his mother, he would just tell her, Nneka, you know how my mother is. Please try to be patient with her. As the days passed, Mama Ejike continued with her attitude. Every time Nneka cooked a meal, Mama Ejike would find something wrong with it. She would tell Ejike, this soup your wife made is tasteless. You deserve better food. Tell her to go and learn how to cook properly, or I can cook your meals for you. Because Ejike did not want to upset his mother, he would only nod at her and correct Nneka, telling her to do better with her efforts. A year passed into the marriage, and Mama Ejike was still the same. Ejike, make sure your wife sweeps this compound and fetches water before sunrise. A good wife should be hardworking, she would say, even though Nneka was now a few weeks pregnant. Nneka, as a pregnant woman with hormones raging in her body, was still very patient. Many times she tried to make decisions about their home, such as rearranging the furniture or deciding what to plant in their garden. But Mama Ejike would always object. She would run to tell Ejike that he was the man of the house and shouldn't let his wife make these decisions. He should be the one to decide. Ejike, as usual, would now immediately revert any changes Nneka made, not minding how Nneka felt. Now, Mama Ejike's attitude was not just for when they were indoors. Even when they were in front of neighbors and other family members, she would openly criticize Nneka and then ask Ejike why he married a woman who cannot even keep the house clean properly. Look at how dirty the place is, she would always shout. One day, Mama Ejike accused Nneka of stealing money from her purse. Nneka knew she did not take any money, but Ejike did not want to upset his mother, so he told Nneka to apologize to her so as to keep the peace in the family. Nneka was angry at Ejike. She couldn't believe her husband would tell her that. She stood her ground that she did not take any money and as such wouldn't apologize to Mama Ejike. In the afternoon, 2 days later, Mama Ejike complained again that Nneka had wasted food by throwing away leftovers. In reality, the food had spoiled and Nneka had to throw it away to avoid any health issues. Mama Ejike, however, was furious and insisted that Nneka was wasteful. Ejike, in a bid to calm his mother down, said to Nneka, "Please, just say sorry to Mama. We don't need any more trouble." Nneka looked at Ejike and apologized to her, but she felt unfairly blamed. 2 weeks later, again in their compound, they held a family gathering to discuss how to plan the forthcoming yam festival. Nneka was speaking when Mama Ejike interrupted her. She had misunderstood something Nneka said and took it as an insult. Despite Nneka's efforts to explain the misunderstanding, Mama Ejike demanded an apology. Ejike stood in the middle of this and said to Nneka, "Just apologize to Mama now. Even if you did not mean it that way, we need to move past this." Nneka felt frustrated and misunderstood, but she apologized to Mama Nneka to keep the peace in front of everyone. After that incident, sadly, Nneka lost her pregnancy due to the stress from Mama Ejike. When she recovered, she told herself that she could not take it anymore and she had had enough. She sat Ejike down and confronted him. "Ejike, I cannot continue like this. Your mother insults me in front of everyone and you do nothing. If you cannot stand up for me, I will leave this marriage. Just a few weeks ago, your mother overruled my decisions to buy new curtains for our home and you sided with her. Ejike, every decision I make, your mother overturns it and you just let her. See, if you cannot support me as your wife, then I see no point in staying married to you." Nneka thought that after a confrontation, Ejike would stand up and be a man, but Ejike continued to defend his mother every single time. One day, Nneka sat Ejike down again and said, "Ejike, I'm telling you, I love you, but your mother is making my life miserable. You need to talk to her." Ejike signed and said, "Nneka, you know my mother raised me alone. I cannot fight with her because of you or ask her to leave. Please, understand with me." Nneka felt very, very sad. In all honesty, she loved her husband, but she knew that as long as Mama Ejike was still living with them or was close to them, nothing would change. So one fateful day, Nneka packed her things and left Ejike's house to her parents' house. Ejike was heartbroken at first, but his pride wouldn't let him admit his mistakes. He let Nneka go without much resistance, thinking he could easily find another woman who would fit into his mother's expectations. He still did not confront his mother about her attitude because he believed that no woman could love him as much as Mama Ejike did. As the months passed, Ejike soon started dating other women, hoping to find someone who would make him forget about Nneka. However, each relationship quickly fell apart. The first woman he dated, Amaka, was vibrant and full of life. However, she clashed with Mama Ejike almost immediately. When Amaka refused to tolerate Mama Ejike's controlling nature, she left a few months later. The next woman Ejike dated was Chidinma. Chidinma was more submissive, hoping to appease Mama Ejike, but even her own patience wore thin. After several months of being belittled and overruled, she had enough. "Ejike," she said one evening, "I can't live like this. Your mother treats me like a servant and you do nothing. I have to end this relationship, please." The third woman, Funke, that Ejike dated, seemed like a perfect match at first, but she too soon realized that Ejike had no intentions of changing his ways. After enduring months of insults and constant interference from Mama Ejike, she too left Ejike alone. Ejike continued this pattern, meeting new women and losing them one by one. Eventually, he had children with multiple women, but none of the relationships lasted. He struggled to maintain any semblance of a stable family life. His irresponsibility and refusal to stand up to his mother drove all these women away, leaving him with children he barely saw and did not support. The years gradually passed, and Ejike found himself alone, surrounded by the memories of what could have been. Nneka, on the other hand, had rebuilt her life. She moved to another town, found a good job, and eventually remarried a man who respected and supported her. One rainy afternoon, as Ejike sat in his modest house, a sudden realization hit him like a bolt of lightning. He reflected on his life, the choices he had made, and the central figure in his turmoil, Mama Ejike. Ejike began to see clearly how his mother's influence had shaped his faith. He remembered the countless times she had interfered in his relationships, the toxic words she had spoken to his partners, and the fear he had of standing up to her. He recalled the way Mama Ejike had dictated how Nneka should behave, what she should wear, and even how she should manage their household. He thought of Amaka, Chidinma, and Funke, all strong, beautiful women who had left him because he couldn't protect them from his mother's wrath. Each departure had left him wanting, but he had never truly confronted the root cause of his misery. Most painfully, he thought of his children, scattered across different homes. They barely knew him. He had failed them just as he had failed their mothers, all because he couldn't stand up to his own mother. One evening, Ejike decided that he could no longer live in denial. He went to his mother, who was now frail and aged. As he sat across from her, he took a deep breath and spoke. "Mama, we need to talk," he began. Mama Ejike looked at him and said, "What is it, my son?" "Do you realize what you have done to my life?" he asked her. "Do you see how your constant meddling and control have ruined everything for me?" Mama Ejike looked at Ejike and said, "I only did what I thought was best for you. I wanted to protect you and I." "Protect you and I?" Ejike echoed bitterly. "You did not protect me, Mama. You controlled me. You drove away the woman I loved, Nneka, and every other woman who came after her. You made it impossible for me to have a stable family. My children don't even know me because of you. And you call this protection?" Mama Ejike looked at Ejike and said, "I am sorry, my son. I never meant to harm you. I just didn't want any woman to take your complete love away from you. You are the only son I have. Look at your sisters. They have all married. You are the only one I have. I know what I went through to have you. I am sorry, my son." She apologized to him. Ejike looked at his mother for a long time and just walked out on her. After that day, Ejike began to make amends. He reached out to his children and each of their mothers, offering apologies and financial support to them. As the months went by, Ejike now found a sense of peace he had never known. He remained single and focused on being a better father and a wiser man as he took it one step at a time. As we bid farewell to Ejike's story, please remember that this story shows us the importance of self-reliance, the courage to stand up for one's choices and to take responsibility for one's life. Also, do not let anyone control your life to the point where you lose your happiness, and remember to always choose your battles wisely. I would like to know your opinion about Ejike and his mother in the comment section. I would love to read from you. Thank you for joining me on this story. I appreciate your attentive ears. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel and also give this video a huge thumbs up to support us.